Okay. Hi, and welcome to Spiritual Alchemy Energy, the podcast with Julie. Today I have a Gem X, a transpersonal coach with me today. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me, Jill.
You're all the way from London. And so we have a little bit of a time difference here.
Yeah.
It's probably evening time for you there. So, you know, I've had a few coaches on, and everyone has a unique take on it, uniquely what they do to help people. So, could you just share with us what your mission is and why you do what you do?
So, I would like to introduce myself as a transpersonal coach, an authentic self empowerment, and a group facilitator. And my mission is helping people to attune with their authentic self, and by doing so, to create abundance in their life.
Fantastic. What was the catalyst that moved you from a prior career in fashion into becoming a coach?
So it's a really long story, but I would like to share with you that. So basically, when I was, I was always very creative and I was always so into self development. And back in university, I studied psychology. But when I was studying psychology, we were just going so much deeper about psychoanalysis and behavioral psychology. And the expectation from our university and my mentors and my teachers were actually us being a clinical psychologist. But when I was studying and doing some interns back in Istanbul, I studied psychology in Istanbul. I realized that something is missing, or something is not just very much connected with the human psyche and the experience. So, then, because I was very into fashion, I was like, okay, I don't want to be a clinical psychologist. I just want to stop here. I will do my self development, but I'm gonna try myself in fashion. And I moved to London. I started doing little bit of fashion jobs back in Istanbul, but I come to London and I studied in fashion here, and I worked in fashion basically. But during the time, again, my passion for self-development is never-ending story for me. So I was keep continuing reading and reading, doing a lot of research about what is the next, because like in life, everything is like growing and we are evolving and humans are changing. But for me, it wasn't the right thing to a label people regarding to a clinical psychology, as in if you have a period of time that you feel upset or you are behaving in some kind of a way, it doesn't define your character.
Mm.
This is a very much an awakening for me, because let's say you're having a divorce or you have such a big grief. So those, it's actually an life event that you are facing, but the response of it shouldn't be like, oh, I'm having, yeah, you can have emotions, like you can have issues, but this is not such a, you are defining your personality as in like you are a person that have that in a major depression. These kinds of things are really making me thinking about labeling people is not very easy. Be people, they are already, we are already not very much um, happy to do, or we're very stuck in our comfort zone. So people, when you label them or when you say you're this, you're that, they're gonna be like, oh, this is my title, this is what I am, don't expect me to change, or I'm gonna do this, this is what my psychotherapist says. So these kind of things, I actually become more and more looking about what is actually the psychology about humans, and what is the upcoming.
So, what? Let me reiterate what you said, so I understand. So, you didn't agree with the psychology
Yeah,
diagnosis being labeled that
yeah.
indefinitely. Yeah,
I
interesting. I,
yeah.
I totally
I mean,
agree.
I didn't I never worked as a psychologist, but all the educations that I was having and everything that I was reading was just looking for a book and labeling a person regarding the book, which has been written for years and years, maybe decades ago. But we are in 2022. Everything is changing. Every day is changing. The time is being so fast, and we are just like, oh, okay, I'm this, okay, like expect me to who I am, like, or um I mean, in psychology, so when I was studying psychology, I was also having a lot of social lessons about positive psychology, humanistic psychology, but all of them, they were explaining us as they're all theories. I mean, talking about happiness and human flourishment is not a theory; it's the reality. And now everything is evolving for this. Yes, we have shadows, and we have darkness, but we also have the rainbow. Have all the different colors, which is we are here to express those in a more authentically. So. Um, and then I mean, I was like, okay, like a lot of behavior lessons, psychoanalysis lesson, a lot of readings, and I'm like, okay, I mean, that's okay, but I am not this. I can't do this. If it's being a psychologist, I can't be this, because I couldn't see anyone difference, because I had times where I was feeling so depression, and I was having a major depression, or I was kind of behaving like an addict, but I wasn't an addicted, I was behaving like addict. Now I'm not doing anything or any kind of, because I have the awareness. So I am so much against for labeling people, and people, they accept themselves as what they have been said about them, and stalking of the um, of the current moving, and how not going forward, or not moving forward, basically stuck in this tunnel awareness.
Fantastic. I just love that. I just I love it. um, so, and so, do you have a healing? Did I mean that's? I'm sure that's part of your healing there.
Yeah,
So a lot of us, most of us, when we go into this type of work, we've had to heal.
yeah.
So, can you share a little bit about your healing? Did
uh,
you have a crisis in life?
I had a lot of crisis. So, and before I was seeing this as a problem, but now I actually see it as a very much opportunity, because to shy, you need to be first burn, and and also I cannot still consider myself as self-healed. Life is going on. I still facing a lot of different difficulties and challenges, where I am just really much facing them more in a broader perspective, where I can see myself as an experience, and being in the moment, accepting the moment as it is. So yes, I have had some healing things, because since I was a kid, I was very, very, very empathic, and very, I now can consider myself as a highly sensitive person. And I was always so much into interconnect with everything around me and surrounding me. And I was very much curious about life and human experience. I was so much.
Mm.
And this curiosity has been able me to do good things and bad things. But now I am very much grateful for all of the experience that I had was actually to the higher, for my higher self. And especially today is a very important day for me because it's the um, 10th year of my 10th year of my father's passed away. So 10 years ago, he passed away. Invite me to your
Sorry.
podcast, I will cry. No, I'm joking.
Oh,
I
it's
know
okay. It's
people of
human.
emotions. So I'm very today. So why I said this because when I was 18, he passed away, and when you experience the reality of life as the reality of the start was to birth, and as the end of the life as the death when I was very young, and it was a very unexpected moment for me. So as a person who experienced grief and has a more different understanding of life and birth and death, yes, I have been healing and working on myself quite a lot.
I'm sorry for your loss, and I'm sure it's been a very emotional day for you.
Yes.
I'm sorry. Um, so let's move on into how you really help people in your coaching and some definitions of the transpersonal coach and the authentic self empowerment practitioner aspect, as well
Okay,
as
sure. So, to talk about transpersonal coach, I just first would like to give you a short reminding about what was the fourth force of the psychology. So, psychology started with the psychoanalytic, which was very much focused on pathology, and then behavioral came. And it was more about materialistic. There was just no emotions. There were just homeworks that the clients were just being able to make a short-term goal, short-term change about their goals. And then one of the greatest psychologists for me, Abraham Maslow, was just bringing up the humanistic psychology, where it was all fully focused on the happiness and the wellness. And if you remember the pyramid of the Abraham Maslow's of needs, we actually think that the pyramid, the end of is the self-actualization, but actually before he that maybe some years, I can't remember now, maybe 2 years ago, he already make his theory much broader, and he said it's not the goal was not the self-actualization, the goal is self-transcending, the self-transcendence. So the transpersonal is the holistic and spiritual and transcendence aspects of the human experience, which the name is coming from. Trans means beyond, personal means ego, and transpersonal coaching is empowers people to transcend their ego states, mindsets, and behavior to have a better their personal and professional and spiritual growth. So basically, transpersonal coach works with as a whole person, like mind, body, spirit. We don't separate any of them. So it's like we see the person as a whole and we focus on that. And we use some of the techniques that I will explain in our podcast today, and where we cultivate more expanded states of consciousness. And during these sessions, we actually expand the consciousness and integrate all the information from there to context of in every day life. yes, life brings us some of the events, but actually transpersonal coaching lets us to help to transform a crisis into a spiritual awakening.
Wow. And then from there, you really want to get authentic with your client. You want your client to be authentic
Exactly,
from that
exactly.
experience. So, wow. Okay. So,
It's
when you have when your clients have that experience and you're moving into um, helping them be feel empowered to be themselves, what what kind of things do you do, techniques that you use in order to facilitate and
uh,
help your clients change?
sure. So the most important, transpersonal coaching cannot be defined without open awareness.
Mm,
So open awareness is a particular mode of perception in which individuals are attentive in their own thoughts as well as of their others, and in the context of everything connects with them. It's like a type of an attention, and it's like being simultaneously inward and outward focused. So basically seeing yourself as an observer, as an observed. So it's, I can also describe it as a flow state of the pure experience interconnected with the rest of the reality. By doing so, just taking few deep breaths in and out, it just gives you the calm and receptive states. And there is an
okay.
amazing quote that I really would like to share here. It's just like, I always think about it, but between simultaneous and response, there's a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. So this is one of my favorite quotes. And it's just like, I mean, as a transpersonal coach, we work on that space. We hold that space to to bring, sorry, to bring uh, to bring the client in that flow moment of um, that space that can they actually change their perspective, eventually change their choices of what they're doing.
Interesting. I love it. I love it. And I really feel that I just in my gut, when you said that, I feel you, if you haven't written a book, you need to write a book and start it
Thank you.
from
It's
that
my
quote and
dream. Yeah, one of my dreams. I actually want to write a children book.
do it.
Yes,
Do it.
yes. Thank you.
That that quote right there needs, because you're so embodied in it, needs to
Yeah.
be expressed with your words and your
This word,
experiences.
this quote is actually, I don't know who said this. It's an unknown, but it is very, very interesting. You just really much see the, it's basically the summary of how to be in the moment, what is here and now, what, when people think about it, what is here and now, like now or before or when, like, but actually the space, embodying the space of our growth and freedom by doing the by choosing the response that we are going to give, because as human beings is actually we have the ability to choose. So remembering every day that every day is one step for of our decisions to what kind of a life we would like to create.
And
So
choice
yeah,
is empowerment.
exactly.
So awesome. Okay. So there is this other term on your website. I think you've already kind of basically touched on it, but let me ask, spiritual
Yeah.
psychology.
Okay. So spiritual psychology is basically transpersonal psychology.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Because, we don't have the spiritual dictionary where we have truly defined spiritual terms. So, like when you get into the spirit, there are some, but when you talk to different spiritual people, they will have their own definitions of things.
Exactly.
So, it's kind of interesting.
If
Um,
you ask me what spiritual psychology for me, I can give you a response. But if you ask what is spiritual psychology is actually considered as transpersonal psychology.
I agree. I agree with that, and I love your definition of it. So I have to ask because this is my deal. I love the unknown. I love the unseen. I love the woo woo. So, um, what type of modalities, psychic gifts do you use to bring into your practice to help your clients?
Okay. Um, so I'm a Pisces woman, and my sunrise is Cancer, and my moon sign is Cancer, and all of my astrology map is full of water sign.
Mm,
So this is first of all, I can introduce myself of my abilities of how I do my sessions, and secondly, I am very much intuitive and. Uh, as I have been stopped drinking alcohol, or I did sometimes drink coffee, but I don't do anything to reduce my spirituality by doing drinking or like doing stuff. Yes, of course, I have my own private life where I attend, but as time is going, I really feel that I don't really enjoy about doing them. So I do meditations, and again, every day I do open awareness, and to be in that state to see inwards and outwards in my life and my thoughts and my emotions, and basically checking with myself. I love sound healing. Some of my friends are doing sound healing. I joined them, and I love sounds. I all the time listen affirmations, and if not DNA activation sounds. I do a lot, but I enjoy. It's not just I'm doing because this is my work. This is my own little world, what I'm doing, and not for just doing. This is because of me, because when I work on myself, I believe, and as I can see that I help my clients more and more, and I see a huge energy exchange between me and them. So yes, um, yeah,
fantastic. Okay, so this is my big question for you, and I'm
yes,
sure it's probably in your presentation. So, I've always wanted to know, I mean, the difference between NLP and hypnosis, like defined. Um, I think, well, I know I've done hypnosis. I think I've done some NLP with some healers. But, you know, I feel they're very similar, but there's significant differences.
okay. So for me, my modal so I'm not a hypnotherapist, but the modalities that I'm using for authentic self empowerment is actually includes NLP and hypnosis. What I know is actually NLP is more like a linguistic elements of the nervous system about our behaviors and thoughts and linguistic part, what we are actually talking ourselves, and programming is how we programmed. So NLP is actually the nervous system um, is the, let's say, is the mechanism of how we see, but the hypnosis is actually a state. And the difference is basically they are both doing the same thing. They're both expanding the consciousness. And um, but I mean, hypnosis has not have the linguistic elements, and hypnosis is more like a direct expanded level of consciousness, whereas NLP is a form of uh, NLP is a form of to train your brain.
Mm, okay. All right. I think it also depends on the intentions
Yeah,
of of what a client might be seeking with those modalities as well.
exactly. The intentions.
So, okay. So, do you have like, are you a medium or do
No,
you?
I am not. I'm a transpersonal coach and try to live my life in a fullest potential.
Okay. Well, I have to ask those. I'm into the woo woo stuff. I'm into this too. So,
Yeah,
I'm, you know, doing as much as I can do to, be aware of myself and others. Okay. Okay. So, um, I know you have a presentation, so let's kind of allow you to share that with us now.
yeah,
Um,
sure. Basically, we talk a lot about everything that was on my presentation, but I'm happy to present it if you would like, because there
o-
is some additions.
Let me ask one more question before we go to there. Um, what are the most common themes that clients come to you to, the most common thing that you work with your clients?
Um,
Self
so
confidence.
um, when the clients are approaching me, they have been mostly already tried the life coaching, but they could not find. I mean, they are, yes, they have made a progress, but they would like to make a bigger progress, which is questioning about themselves, questioning about their lives, questions about their jobs and everything in their own life. And when they come to me, which is like the life coaching is mostly based on the cognitive behavioral perspective, which I said it was like a short goals. And the thing in the life coaching, or let's say the traditional coaching, they only work on the issues in conscious awareness. And but what about the unconscious causes they were
Hmm.
never be aware of? So these issues has been never be underlined, or they will be always stayed in unknown and unresolved. So when they approach me, they're like, oh, I did this, I did that, but I couldn't do, so I have a lot of questions. And the most of the bit I really work on self-love, because all the issues in life, I believe that it just comes to us because we mirror. So yeah, things can be got worse, but we just come to uh, inside and ask, how am I or what are my thoughts. So basically, we work on their beliefs, mindsets, and therefore the behaviors. And when we work on them, each of them, and make a awareness about them, we create an abundance in their life. And this eventually help them to understand more about themselves and welcome their authentic self, to live their life more greater and with a bigger purpose.
Do you find a lot of these people become coaches themselves or go into spiritual work after they work with you?
uh, yeah, some of them, some of them, they're coaches. Uh, yeah, some of them, they really do coaching, life coaching, performance coaching, goal coaching. But I really help them to discover more about their spirituality, because spirituality is not woo woo. Spirituality is bigger than science. Spirituality is has been maybe a little bit shut it down because of the world of materialism and maybe the religion. But spirituality is the latest evolution of the psychology, alongside of the traditional neurological, cognitive, or other approach. I mean, how I can also define is also the Western psychology and Eastern wisdom is the spirituality. So, I mean, as well as the peak mystical near death awakening experience, altered states of consciousness, they're all reality. Maybe as human forms, we can't see them, or we can't just now access them instantly. But as we go and go to gym and build muscles, we can also build our muscles within our brain to be more spiritual and also expand those levels.
Absolutely. Totally agree. I did a series of it's called What the Bleep.
Hmm.
So the first one was what the bleep is spirituality.
Yeah,
So in that process, every human has a fingerprint and their spirituality is just as unique as that fingerprint.
yeah.
So so
I never heard
it's
about it. Thank you for sharing.
so let's go ahead and go to your presentation and see if
Yes.
we missed anything in there that's really valuable that we need to learn.
Okay. Mm. Can you see in a bigger?
Here, I can add it to the stream.
Okay, great. So this is what I created for the Spiritual Alchemy Energy podcast with lovely Jewel. And I would like to talk about today the most of the things we already talk about, but what I really want to underline that I haven't been able to talk about the A's of consciousness and states of consciousness, and I will just talk more about what is actually happening in the world, basically. So, as I said, my name is Ecem, and I'm a transpersonal coach, authentic self empowerment practitioner, and a group facilitator. And I'm also founder of the Human Beyond Self. I have a background in both Western and Eastern cultures because I was born in Istanbul and I moved to London. I mean, when I was younger, my brother was born in the US, so I've been all around. So this experience was actually helped me to meet different cultures and different peoples. And now I've been living in London almost 3.5 years. Um, so, as I can define myself as a highly sensitive person, and I've been always curious about life and human experience, and I'm such a big nature level, and also I can consider myself as an awakened soul. I'm Moon Pisces, Sun Pisces, Moon Cancer, and Rising Cancer. So, as I said, I think the healing of the new paradigm is actually starting. We have been all forgotten who we are and why we're here. And the science and materialism world have become the new religion, dispacting the spirituality. But yet, people now becoming more and more awakened because now they realize that the science, there is something beyond science, but they can't actually explain that. So in this presentation, the upcoming is I'm going to actually talk about the we actually step into a new age of Aquarius, which is I will explain more in detail, and I will talk about the three dimension, the fifth dimension, and from self actualization to self transcending, and exploring the personal responsibilities to creating the new earth. And I, as a gem, help people to attune with their authenticity. So here we are talking about. I think maybe it's gonna. I mean, it seems like a little bit complicated, but actually, they're all the age of consciousness. So I will give you time to read by on your own time. But here I would like to talk about the major age of Pisces, which was has been going on for years and years and thousands of years, where we have been different rebirth and guilt and transitions and inequality. Everything has been going on for 2000 years in the world that we are living all together in. And also there was the influences about that, but there was also the outcome, the internet, the electricity, the religion. These things are coming as a outcome. But by the year of 2020, where surprisingly coronavirus has been happened, is actually we have been transit for a new age of Aquarius, which is the consciousness, the wisdom of the consciousness, the disclosure of the freedom of purpose and revolution. More people are more awakenings. We can't stand no more social problems, and the systems are collapsing, and at the same time the technology is growing like rapidly. The blockchain and metaverse and artificial intelligence is all around.
Can I ask a question about that? Do some of these overlap
Yeah,
potentially? Okay.
yeah, yeah. I mean, they're all the transitions. So I was kind of make putting the points of where they are actually, but they're all together makes the chronological line.
It's fabulous. I love it.
Thank you. I mean, this chart I made this, and it's just like you really see it. It's again the observer as an observer, what has been going on for thousands of years, because as a human beings we only remember our lives. Maybe I really can't remember what I was doing when I was 10, but seeing it as a table of the age of consciousness is just like, yeah, it's true. So now I would like to talk more about the understanding the three states of consciousness. I mean, it's a very long conversation for me, but I have a limited time. So I will express and explain as much as I can do, but otherwise, I'm happy to explain another time to you, Jewel.
We can go over if you'd like to fully explain this
Oh,
because
okay,
I
great.
think it's really cool.
Okay, great. So, okay, this is a very exciting topic to me. The world is changing and the world's energy is changing now. The earth is rebirthing and the earth is actually changing her energy level. As we were all human beings in a physical level, we were all living at the third dimension. which everything has been. Yes, there was good sides of it, but there was also bad sides. The wars because of the service of self, the duality, the polarization because of the racism, the separatism, the control, rules, status, the most important thing, the materialism, which is lead to the capitalism, fear-based programming all around the TVs, everywhere. People, they are just like living in the survival mode, and victim mentality. Because of this I'm this, because of that I am that, like cannot be just focused on. And I mean this sense of slow and heavy the time because of the things happening.
And
um yeah. And
we're
the
we're transitioning through this.
yeah. Now, because a lot of people are awakening, and earth is actually transit for the 5D. We are all living in 5D now. If you attune your own energy to live in 5D, the earth is already ready for it. The 4D was actually the transaction between the third dimension and the fifth dimension, whereas there was more remembering. We were who we are, and we were showing more compassion. We were aware of a little bit of what was the connection mean, understanding the structures and asking questions, seeking answers, and challenging the old belief system. Why I actually have this belief? Where is this belief coming from? Thinking about ourselves, thinking about others, thinking about the country that we are in. And we are turning being a more conscious being, which now is all is leading to live it all together in 5D, because the exploring the five dimension is actually the unity consciousness. Nothing is going to change in one day and we're going to be living in like a heaven. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the living individually, the state of mind, living in the state of mind of authenticity, living in the state of mind high frequency, purpose based. What's my purpose? How I'm good being good to myself, being good to others, and especially to the earth. What I'm doing, what I'm putting. You don't need to be so much successful, and think about what success means. Does success means a lot of money on the bank account, or does success means how you feel yourself, or how you do things for yourself, for your surroundings, and for your earth? And when you be in the 5D, you understand that you are the co-creator. You're not victim anymore. You can create the life that you want to live. You can create the life, and actually you can change your actions to live the life that you would like to live. You're more in the flow state. You're more in abundance. You feel more interconnectedness. You you feel your hearts. You just, the actions are coming from your art, and these all lead to the effortless, the light, the ease, and the universal knowledge of what is being a real human. So this is my little coaching studio, and we focus on healing, self development, and growth. And my modalities are coming from Western and Eastern perspectives on consciousness and human psychology, human potential in psychology. With my clients, we overcome limited beliefs, mindsets, and behaviors. And then, as I said, I help them to attune with themselves in physical, mental, emotional, interpersonal, and most importantly, spiritual levels. And I do it with both individuals and groups. Therefore, we create an abundance in their life to live with a greater clarity and purpose, with walking the same journey together. They do for themselves. I'm just being next to them, supporting them. We talk about it, but I can just say the transpersonal psychology empowers people to transcend their ego states and help to transform their crisis into spiritual awakening. The fourth force of psychology, the psychoanalytic is more focused on pathologies, behaviors, is materialistic, short goal oriented, not focusing on the emotions at all. And humanistic psychology is just human flourishing and happiness and wellness. And where transpersonal is coming is actually the whole person, the holistic, spiritual, and transcending aspects of the human experience. Maybe we can't again touch, but as we work on them, they're coming, they're growing as the muscles we do in gym. This is again the Maslow pyramids here we um, that we start the psychological needs and safety, and after you feel safe and you have your food and water, you look for love and belonging, the relationship, family, and then you go for cognitive needs, which is the knowledge, understanding, and exploration. And after that, you would like to create a beauty, the aesthetic needs of life, the balance, the form. And after all of them, the self-actualization is happening because of all the aspect of the pyramid is happening, and you achieve your potential with your unique creativity. But this is not the end of the pyramid. This is where we lead to our self-transcending, the sense of meaning, the spiritual experiences, and most of all, the most importantly, what is your beyond self. That's why I called human beyond self. And eventually understanding that we are all one, and we think we are a part of a greater whole, so we are more than what we think about ourselves. So here I just talk about the latest evolution of the psychology is so unique, the transpersonal psychology, because the uh, transpersonal psychology embraces the science and research and approaches to wellness, to the Eastern wisdom traditions, as well as the peak mystical, near death, and awakening experiences, including the expanded state of consciousness and self transcending states. It's different than the traditional coaching because we are working on also the unconscious causes, where has been not solved on the traditional coaching. I made a diagram of what is transpersonal is working on us. So the Western psychology would like to work on more form and separation and identity based self, ego affirming, time is linear, focusing on the past mostly, focusing and talking about the past, and consciousness is in the brain and more about individualism. But the Eastern talks about more not forms, the formless, the connection, the identity beyond self, ego transcending. Time is circular, the focus is more here and now rather than the past or the future. The consciousness is not in the brain, consciousness is everywhere, consciousness is us, God is the consciousness. And it's more about the collectivism, not individualism. So when we talk about transpersonal coaching, we cannot pass open awareness, because the open awareness is the most important thing what we do in our coaching and what is actually make a difference. So in open awareness, it's like a flow and a pure experience interconnected with the rest of reality by taking slow, be deep breaths in and out, inhaling and exhaling, take bringing your awareness to your body, to your surrounding is happening. You actually entering your open awareness state of mind. Again here, between stimulus and response, there's a space. In that space, in our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. I mean, such an amazing
I
quote.
love that. I'm
Yeah,
still in it.
yeah. um, so open awareness is an expansive perception where you introception and outroception and in interoception of where the metacognitive awareness is mindfully observe mental activities, your body, your somatic experience, and the autoception is more the heightened awareness of others, the way of the we relate with them, which is cultivating the most important things to be a human being is actually showing empathy and compassion. So open awareness cultivates our empathy and compassion as well as others, but most importantly for ourselves. And as you are more compassionate and more empathic for your surroundings, the environception is the border awareness of the space around us, which is connects to us everything in the environment and the cosmos. So this is seeing it in a very higher perspective of that we are really all connected and we are all one. um, so this is actually what I can visualize here is um, open awareness is an opposite of being experienced separate from the other things. It's actually like you really feel the interconnectedness, and open awareness is a naturally ecological and beneficial for you, for others, and for the earth, because you think about yourself, you think about your others, and as you think the earth as your homeland, not a planet that you're living and you're gonna pass and you'll die and it will stay. So it's actually helping realize how deeply we are interconnected. And one of another quote that I really like is joy, creativity, awe, gratitude, compassion, kindness. The qualities we cherish the most will naturally emerge when we drop beneath the illusion of separateness and realize our profound interconnection. This is
Separateness.
one of my favorites, Dr. Siegel. So by doing that, I mean, people, they just like, oh, are you gonna change the world or this or that? But I mean, the each individual, if they do this, it will actually help the I mean, it's going to be a change as a system change of an awareness based system change before you first change your culture, because each individual will change it in this way. And this is another quote that I really like: the awakening people may be prematurely experiencing a state that is latent in many other people and in the whole human race collectively, and all will become more common as the time goes by and will one day become the norm. So Taylor is saying here, Steve Taylor is like, this is eventually going to be the norm. So as quicker as we will be awakening, we're gonna be make huge changes, just not about our lives, not about our relationship, jobs, or like marriage or kids, not about like talking in a smaller perspective, but in a bigger perspective. Actually, one can make a change, and this can eventually help to make a bigger change as in an awareness-based system change. And another quote that I really like from Krishnamurti is, in oneself lies the whole world, and if you know how to look and learn, the door is there and the key is in your hand. Nobody on earth can give you either the key or the door to open except yourself. Here we're seeing the importance of um, our importance of our existence to change our life and change our whatever we would like to change. And here I talk about a little bit authentic self empowerment authentic means being true to who you are, who you would like to be, and who you would like to be preferred to be. You are going to choose, because everything can change, everyone can change unless they would like to change. I mean, who changed me? Ecem changed herself. Who changed Julie? Julie changed herself. So this is empowering our authentic self. It's a combining the mindfulness, transpersonal psychology, and holistic neurolinguistic programming, by my developed by my tutor Javon Dangeli. I hope he will watch this. And authentic self empowerment is identify help to identify your purpose in your life, enhance your presence, and propel for your passion. And here I would like to talk about what is NLP. Is a very short introduction, neuro related in our nervous system of behaviors, our thoughts and feelings in our body resides. And linguistic means how we talk about ourselves, our inner experience. Therefore, it creates our map of reality. And programming means the ability to change behaviors, patterns, and feelings in such a way that they become useful and constructive to our personality.
I
Yes.
love it. This is very timely. This is very relevant. What your work you're doing here to help people is very timely, very, you know, you're you're in that flow, you're aligned, you're in the fifth dimension doing your work. And
Thank you.
I'm, I've had a lot of people on my show, and today I feel very inspired by your message.
Oh,
So
thank
I
you.
want to thank
Thank
you
you
very
so
much.
much. It's an honor.
Um, so let's talk about how people can get a hold of you to work with you, wherever they are in the world. I have a banner to share here. Humanbeyondself.com is your website. So
Yeah.
people can go there and connect with you. And
Yeah. They can email me, just email me, and I will be responding them. We will make a discovery call for 15 minutes, that I will listen them, and if I see myself that I can help them, I will have to help them. And if not, I can, based on what they're saying, I can just be comfortable about advise them in that 15 minutes. And after, what I work with my clients, how I work with my clients is actually we first do like a long session. The first session is actually we're doing 1 hour to 1.5 hour, and after I advise them to do either 6 sessions or 12 sessions, because it is a kind of a commitment of both of side that we would like to see a difference. So between 6 sessions to 12 sessions, I advise them to start from 6 sessions. And I have clients who already done 6 sessions, and they are want to continue to do with 12 sessions. So I do like a packaging program, my offerings.
fantastic. And you also do corporate,
Yeah.
corporate or
So
business.
exactly. So I work with corporates as a well-being consultant, well-being manager, and I help them to basically when their employees feel happy, they feel more connected, and eventually 100% it will affect their performance in the work environment. So I create bespoke tailored programs for corporates. And if any corporates would like to work with me, I do mostly, if they're UK based, they mostly would like to do it Zoom, but I also do it face to face. But anywhere around the world, I can actually do it from Zoom. um, so yeah, I have corporate offerings as well. And another offering that I have is actually I am about to launch my workshop. My first workshop is about going to be how to really cultivate self-love. So I will let you know, and I will be very happy to see you at my first workshop. Be my guest, Julie.
Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you. Um, is there anything else you would like to share with the audience that's on your heart? Anything that you want to share before we close this?
I mean, first of all, I really want to thank everyone who is listening me here and being a witness of my story and my experiences and all my thoughts. And if anything that they would like to discuss, I share my email address. And finally, I would like to take a deep breath with you and feel this space together. Being grateful for the moment that we shared the co created space, and just let go with your exhalation, tuning into your body, tuning into your surroundings, and just take a big, deep breath with inhaling the trust and exhaling with let go.
Thank you so much. I want to thank you for being here today. I want to thank you for sharing your story. I want to thank our future viewers, future listeners for tuning into this message. And I hope you value the content that Ecem, a gem, excuse me,
Yes,
a gem
no.
shared with us today. And you can go visit her at humanbeyondself.com and email her for, you know, a
Anything.
consultation.
Yeah.
So thank you so much.
Thank you
And
so much.
good night, everyone. Don't leave, please.